They said you were too demanding, that it was hard to deal with you, that you always wanted more than could be given. But this person never understood what was truly being offered. You didn't ask for too much. You just didn't settle for less. You didn't pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. You didn't swallow silence when there was discomfort. You didn't fake presence when you felt absent. This person confused intensity with exaggeration, confused firmness with control, confused care with demands. You didn't beg for anything. You only required reciprocity. And for someone who doesn't know how to give, that can be frightening. Today, this person misses you, not the routine, not the gestures, but the invisible strength you carried in your gaze, the presence that made the environment breathe differently, the understanding that cut through the masks, the silence that embarrassed those who could not sustain depth. This person searches, sifts through new stories trying to find what you offered for free, loyalty in feeling, consistency in presence, wholeness in words. But they can't find it, because what you gave came from a rare place, from within, and no one can imitate what comes from the real. Now this person remembers what they ignored, what they ridiculed, what they refused to understand. They remember how you perceived before you heard, how you spoke the truth even when it hurt, how you set boundaries even with a full heart. But now, you're no longer there. And this person feels it, the physical absence, the lack of who you were, and the worst part, the shame of realizing it only afterward. Have you ever been called intense by someone who now misses even your silence? If that's happened to you, comment, "I needed to hear this." Does this make sense to you so far? Write "yes" down below. This person used to say, but they never understood the depth of what you offered in silence. You never realized the strength contained in the way you said, "It's okay," even when it hurt. You never noticed that behind your insistence there was a hope, maybe the last one, that this time someone would treat you with the same integrity with which you always treated the world. But this person chose to see you as overdramatic, intense, inconvenient. They preferred to say that you complicated everything, when in reality you just wanted what was real. Nothing more, nothing less. This person never took the time to feel, they just reacted. Every time you set a boundary, this person thought it was control. Every time you asked for clarity, they said you wanted to argue. Every time you showed what hurt you, this person turned their back, as if feeling was a crime, as if asking for reciprocity was an offense. You listened so much, but were heard so little. And even so you stayed, longer than you should have, because there was still a part of you that believed maybe. It was just a phase, a blockage, a lack of maturity, but it wasn't. This person simply didn't want to grow together. They wanted you, as long as you didn't disturb them. They wanted what you gave, as long as you didn't ask for anything in return. And when you started to stay quiet, that's when the abyss grew. Not because you stopped feeling, but because you realized that feeling there didn't matter anymore. You began to silence yourself, and that silence turned into protection, a shield, distance, survival, until one day you felt nothing anymore, and you left, without a shout, without a scene, without notice. This person didn't even understand. They thought it was just another difficult moment, just another one of your phases. But what this person didn't understand is that when you leave completely, and you never come back the same. Because when you give up, it's from the inside out. It's not a tantrum, it's not a game, it's the end. Now, this person feels it. They miss what they claimed to not be able to stand. They miss your intensity, your presence that dismantled everything that was shallow. You even miss the way she confronted what was wrong. You miss the person you used to be. Do you see the paradox? This person used to say that you demanded too much, but now she misses everything you gave without asking for anything in return. She even misses the silence that used to irritate her. She misses your watchful eyes, which noticed even what she tried to hide from herself. She misses your strength, which she swore was arrogance. She misses your firmness, which she claimed was coldness. This person felt anger at how you were never satisfied with less. And now she misses everything you will never offer again. Today, this person is searching in other faces, searching in other touches, searching in empty conversations for the weight of your presence. But no one compares, because no one carries what you carry, because no one sees the world the way you do. You always looked beyond, always felt deeply, always offered more than anyone could ever repay. And now that this person has lost, She realizes what she had. There's no one left who sees without asking. No one left who hears what was left unsaid. No one left who stays after the noise. No one left who feels truth in gestures, even when there were no words. This person feels, but doesn't speak, because she knows that now. You won't come back. Do you see this? You've become an absence, but an absence that screams, that echoes, that tightens. You are no longer here, and yet as this person feels you everywhere, in the lack of connection, in the absence of truth, in the superficiality that now weighs heavy. And you've moved on, lighter, more aware, more selective, not because you are bitter, but because you understood that it's not your role to teach anyone to value you. It's not your mission to beg for reciprocity. It's not your obligation to shrink to fit into someone's world who doesn't know how to handle emotional greatness. You've understood, and now you refuse to repeat the cycle. This person who said you demanded too much now realizes the problem was never you. It was her inability to handle the depth you brought. She was comfortable on the surface, and you were born an ocean. Now she is drowning in her own scarcity, while you sail in your truth. Have you been through this? Share your story in the comments. If this touched you, comment, "I needed to hear this." If this video made you think, the next one will turn you inside out. Go ahead, because this story isn't over yet. The absence will continue to hurt, but soon you'll realize how much your departure was the greatest act of self-love you've ever experienced. You noticed everything before, even before this person admitted they didn't know how they felt, before they confessed, even if never allowed, that they weren't ready for someone like you, before they realized that to be by your side, they needed to be whole. You knew they were there, but never completely, always with one foot ready to run away, with an uneasy gaze, as if feeling exposed from being seen too much. You saw, you noticed, you felt, every time they disconnected from themselves to try to silence you. Every time they confused intensity with pressure, presence with invasion, love with threat, and still you stayed. You stayed because you still believed. You stayed because you knew what you were capable of when you love. You stayed because the world had already taught you to leave too soon, and for the first time, you wanted to try to stay until the end. But there was no end. There was just a lukewarm repeat of disconnected days, of ignored emotions, of conversations that stopped where they should have begun. And then you left, without making a scene, without explaining. The truth is, there was nothing more to explain. This person knew, always has, but didn't want to admit it. Now there's no more of your presence to carry what this person didn't have the courage to sustain. Now it's silence. Not the silence you made to avoid conflict, but the silence that remains after your departure. And this silence speaks volumes, echoes on the walls of a wounded ego, in the memory of everything that was wasted. This person misses you, not just you, but the version of themselves that only existed when they were near you. You made this person want more from themselves. You were the drive, the pleasant discomfort, the mirror. Now this person is searching, but only finds distorted reflections. They try to fill themselves with anything, but nothing fits, because you were the perfect soul match, a living presence. Not something that can be copied or recreated. This person feels, but doesn't say, because they know. They know that now, time doesn't go back, and you don't either. You learned, in the pain, in the absence of reciprocation, in the exhaustion of insisting where only you pushed. You learned that love cannot be begged for, that connection cannot be forced, that those who need to be convinced don't deserve to stay. You didn't stop feeling, you just stopped insisting, and this person never expected. They counted on your consistency, on your persistence, on your resilient love that endured everything. But you realized it wasn't love if you had to disappear for the other to remain, so you chose yourself. For the first time fully, without guilt, without turning back. And this choice, this person felt it like a sharp cut, because they thought they would never lose, that you would always be there, waiting, accepting, forgiving, yielding. But no, the day came when you looked in the mirror and realized there is no value in being everything to someone who cannot see you. This person lost you even before your absence, because they lost the right to be where they never made an effort to stay. And now you don't give anything unless it's returned to you twofold. Now you don't fill anyone's emptiness who isn't willing to look at their own void. Now you demand. And anyone who calls that an exaggeration, that doesn't have a place in your life. This person said you demanded too much, but now they miss even what you gave without asking, because today they no longer have your listening ear. There's no longer that gaze that saw beyond, no longer that presence that held everything alone. Today, there's only the echo of what she never valued. And you move on, more aware, more selective, more complete, because now you've understood. Intensity is not a flaw, it's a filter. Those who can't handle it or never had the courage to be true. Comment a heart if you're on this journey with me. Have you heard this phrase before? Comment, I have. You didn't hold on to bitterness. You didn't need to hate or hold a grudge. What this person didn't understand is that what made you leave wasn't anger. It was exhaustion. There comes a point when the heart gets tired of explaining itself, tired of waiting for the other to reach a maturity that never comes, tired of giving presence to someone who only returns emotional absence, and when it gets tired, the soul falls silent. And your soul had been silent for a long time. This person realized too late, and now they wonder how you managed to leave with such firmness, how you had the courage to let go, to move on, to not look back. But this person doesn't know the nights you held back tears to avoid another fight, doesn't know the times you swallowed your words to not seem dramatic, doesn't know the moments you felt invisible, even when you were everything. This person didn't see and now feels the reflection of everything they ignored, feels the weight of the lightness they lost, feels the absence of what was never ordinary, and they try to fill it with new voices, new touches, new stories, but nothing fits, nothing vibrates the same. Nothing has the same flavor as what you were, because what you offered doesn't come from appearance, not from performance, not from convenience. It comes from a depth that only those who have truly dived within themselves can reach. This person only lost you because they never had the courage to dive in with you, and now they're alone, surrounded by superficial people, full of distractions that don't touch, of presences that don't leave a mark, of words that don't linger, and you have become a burning memory, a remembrance that refuses to become the past, a feeling that cannot be replaced, a reference for what is true, even for those who never managed to reciprocate. You have turned into an absence that teaches, a loss that screams, an echo that corrodes, because you were not just anyone, and that person only realized when it was too late. Maybe they won't say it. Maybe they will never have the courage to reach out to you. Maybe they will pretend well. But the emptiness is there. It's in the moments they scroll through old messages. It's in the days when their body is accompanied, but their soul remains empty. It's in the silence that lingers after superficial conversations, because nothing that came afterward could silence what you were. You were truth, even when called exaggerated. You were presence, even when accused of being too intense. But now, you don't have to prove anything anymore. You don't have to explain why you felt so deeply, why you asked for clarity, why you wouldn't accept halves. Those who realized already know, and those who didn't realize don't deserve to relearn with you. That person learned, but with pain, with emptiness, with the regret of someone who let go of what, deep down, they knew was unique. Have you ever gone through this? Share your story in the comments. If this story sounds like yours, right, I needed to hear this. And if you've already understood that you weren't meant to be satisfied with less, hold on tight. Now you know. It wasn't you who demanded too much. It was that person who offered too little. You weren't intense, you were honest, you were whole. And those who live half-heartedly don't know how to handle those who overflow. That person realized too late. And today, they feel it. They miss your firm voice, your pure devotion, your silence full of meaning. But you won't go back, because you learned that those who need to lose in order to appreciate never deserved to stay. Now it's you for you. Without dimming your light for anyone, without giving in where there is no commitment. If this message struck a chord with you, leave a like. Comment below, I needed to hear this. So tell me, have you ever experienced something similar? Share this video with someone who needs a wake-up call, someone who hasn't yet realized what they're missing by not being fully present. And be sure to subscribe to the channel. This was just the beginning. In the next video, we'll dive deeper. I'll see you there.